Welcome back to Das Lab, where today we are doing a little bit of a modification, sort of investigation type of thing. What I've got here is a Ioptron Cube Pro telescope mount. It's smart. I'm not endorsing this by any means. I just got it, and of course, why not modify it? I mean, it only cost several $100s. Telescope will go on here, on this side. I'm waiting for the dovetail to come in. We'll make another video about that. What I'm working on this is this very expensive global camera mount, so that when I'm tracking, trying to do some astrophotography, whatever the telescope's doing, I can have a camera off to the side doing some exposures, and it'll track exactly the way the telescope does. The problem is, here is the mounting screw. This is for a clutch, so when this is not engaged fully, this will articulate, and then when you're fully engaged, this is kind of locked, and now it's driven by the worm screw motor inside. So I've got to have that knob on there, or something on there in that place. This I thought I bought them at the same time. I thought this would just mount on here. I don't know if you can tell, that's some bastard weird screw that I have nothing in my supply that'll fit on there, the screw thread, and that's a standard 7/16 14 thread. So I do have a bolt that'll go into this hole. So my dilemma is, do I make a fitting with, I don't even know what these threads are, and I can't even tell on a thread pitch gauge because I'm not that good at reading it, but that goes on there, and then this screws into there. The thing that, this was $85. The adapter for this that connects this to this is $105. Crazy. I thought it would come with it. They're made by the same company, okay, and you think it would go together. So if you want to make a small fortune in astronomy, start off with a large fortune. Anyhow, I could make an adapter that would screw on there like that, but then I still need something that pushes on the clutch plate, or I could use this, and there's there's some meat in the bottom of the hole, and I could center find and find a hole in there and cut the head off that bolt, maybe Loctite it in there, or if I could get at this and take it apart and put in a locking nut on the back, and then I would just screw this on into this hole when I needed it, and then this could still mount this way. The question is, do I have enough? I can screw this all the way in if I want. There's plenty of room in here. This doesn't get in the way. This locks this axis here. Okay, and these lock onto the ball. I could screw that all the way in if I wanted. Nope, no shortage that way. The question is, let's say I mounted that somehow, glued it in permanently. Would there be enough meat into here? So, looking at this surface does rest on, wait a second. That's floating. Okay, that's just a washer. So, I mean, this really only has to go on about, I'm sure by about that far. That's not coming off. There's enough thread meat on there, so okay, I'm a little happier about that. I could put a bushing. That's just a bushing. Will that come out? Will that come out? Let's see. It's floating in there. Good to know. I don't want to lose that. Well, yeah, I think it's going to come out, don't you? Gravity. Turn the gravity on. Sorry. Okay. So that's interesting. Let's see what happens if I screw that in now. I bet you it won't. Okay. Huh. Well, it's in further. It still bottoms out. There's enough room in there. So Okay, that's what I know is this nut. This this bolt does not have to bottom out in there in order for this to work. Okay, that part doesn't spin, so bushing goes on. I really don't like that. Although there is a shoulder on it that it shouldn't fall off. But I mean, if you're out in the field, typically you use these telescopes for astronomy at night. You know, unless you are maybe looking at the sun or something. But I'd hate to lose that in the dark. But it's nice to know that it'll still lock up even without that bushing. Okay. So I think we've answered our question. I think we are going to center find here. And I don't want to go into there. I got to have this free. This has to be separate. Or the other thing is, I could go in this way. I could grind all that down and go in this way, and then have that sticking out there and screw that into there. That might work. But then I'm always going to have a threaded bolt sticking out of there. You know what? If I drilled through and something happened to those threads, that could be plan B. That could be plan B. Come in this way. Okay, in any event, I did get a new tool just in time for this little project. My center finding device here. So if that is, oh, look at our conversion table, metric to. So if that is saying anything, my center should be somewhere. Oh, one of your shoes is coming off here. Somewhere right about there. So we know where center is. And draw one more line and we'll see if the center finder is doing its job, because they should all intersect. If not, which they aren't. What a piece of crap. Okay. Alright, I'm going to have to look into that and see what's going on. Okay, well, yeah, that's center. Assuming this thing is round. And then we're going to come in with the center punch. And in the center, off a little bit. Yeah, good. I got that in the center. I'm going to do these operations in the lathe. Okay, so I'll tool up for that, and we'll see you in a bit. Okay, it's a month later, at least. I've really no idea where we left off or what I was saying, what kind of lies I was telling you. But we're going to be drilling our hole in there to accommodate this bolt. And I did mark it out in the center. I don't know why I bothered doing that, because I'm going to do the drilling and tapping on the lathe. I'll do the drilling on the lathe under power and the tapping without power. And I got it slowed down here, and I got to drill my hole. So I'll work around you. Oh, yeah, what I did is, because I didn't want to destroy it, I don't have soft jaws on here, so I just put some leather in there. We'll see how that works. Looks like we're going to be pretty close to center. want to get a nice I don't really like that. That looked a little wobbly to me. Make sure that's sitting down as prone as it can be. I don't know why that was so wobbly. I don't think the leather's in there doing anything bad. So I'll snug that up a bit. Make sure that's tight against the face. Tight. I don't know if it ever matters doing that. I didn't really get much out of it, but we're doing that. Anyway, let's see. It didn't change much, did it? A nice starting hole there. We got a pretty big bit to use there, so a nice size starting hole. We're going to come back in with our 5/16 bit. Set that up. There we go. Yes, that's the shortest bit I have. Nice and easy. And we're through. Okay. So just so I don't think we blew it, okay. Alright, so that seems to be about right so far. And we'll get our tap, tappity tap tap. And I'm using, you know, all this because I want it to be as centered as possible and square. I think it's more important to be square than centered in this particular application. Okay, no power here. I will be using, matter of fact, I'm going to unplug. That's not the real one. Just making sure that that light plug is still working right. So I'm going to unplug this because that gets a little bit close to that that power switch sometimes when I'm maneuvering this, especially when there's a big tripod in the way. So it's aluminum. I mean, I got a bit of cutting fluid here just because it's fashionable. I don't think it's that big of a deal. But so what I'm doing is I'm going to actually have the tailstock here just floating, and I'll let it slide in at will. Once I get a sense, oh yes, on that Morse taper it's starting to turn. This may not work. This may not work for me. Wonder if I can put a bit of pressure on there. There. Ooh, that caught. You know, the important thing is I got it started. And it started square. Give it one more little turn here. Okay, so now that I got it started, why don't we just back out and do it over in in the vise. We'll go reset up. Okay, so we're back over here now, and there's more lighting issues, but so at least I've got it started, and we can just continue on with our threading. I don't know, is fluid going to really do much for me? I did want to put a bit of a chamfer on there in the lathe. I guess I can still go do that. At least I feel like I got it in square and solid. Not a lot of meat there to grab onto. I'll just chase those all the way down. And back out. Yeah, I think that deburring that hole to some extent would help. Let me just think about it. Okay, I got my bolt. Ah, you know what? That goes in there pretty good. And pretty loose, eh? Tighten up nice though. Clean that up a little bit. I didn't make it look too bad. I mean, if this isn't the route we're going, at least it's not a horrible, horrible mess. Except for down there. I'll have to clean that out. Alright, so decision time. There's a couple options, and we've got flexibility built into the design. So what has to happen is this has to go on here. And it tightens up this clutch mechanism. Now the nice thing is, it doesn't bottom out. There is, I'm going to say, well, it's hard to tell. Oh, an eighth, maybe a quarter of an inch of space at the bottom. So what I could do, okay, so I can cut this bolt off and glue it in here. Okay, so then this will permanently have a stud going there, and then I can thread that in to the bottom plus the quarter inch. Or I could do this. I could machine this down to be able to fit inside of that diameter, and then I could screw that in like that. Okay, and that will thread all the way down to the bottom. Maybe I have to shave a little bit. It's a little bit bigger than that. I might have to shave about a third of that off. And then I could screw that out and bottom that out. But the thing is, then that bolt, that stud will be sticking out there, and then when I come along with this mount, I can just screw that in there. I think I'm going to do that because if I glue it into here, it's going to be tough to unglue it with Loctite or something like that. But if I was to do that and drive that in, well, not only do I now have a mating surface, like there's not a lot of room, but I could, it'll be like a little flange on there. And that'll sit on the bottom of that hole. But if I ever had to, I could heat this up and break the bond and get it out. So I think that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to chuck this up in the lathe. And that's a very special bolt. You know, there's only like about 4 of these on the whole planet. And I got all 4. So I can do some experimenting with it. Yeah, I think we'll try that. So at the end of the world, if a stud sticks out there, maybe I can screw on other accessories. All right, let's go set it up in the chuck. I'm going to put it in a collet. Okay, so I didn't put it in a collet. Why do you think I didn't do that? Put it in the comments below. If you know what a collet is, you'll know probably why I didn't bother putting it in one. Should have I? Yes, with those threads. Are they crucial? No. Pretty hard bolts, so not too worried about it. But yeah, yes, see if you can answer it, why I didn't put this in a collet for this particular case. I rounded it out on the grinder, and I just trimmed some of this a little bit, just to give it a fighting chance, so that I don't have that as much of an interrupted cut on that face right there. Whoop! A little less. Yeah. Probably the totally wrong bit for doing this, but really rocking and rolling. Tighten that down a bit. I gotta change something. Okay, I ended up putting something on there that's a little bit more rational, and turned it down, and I've got pretty good fit. So I think I've still got to turn that down quite a bit, but we'll go try it on the mount first. We'll put it together and see. Okay, so here's the question. Put this in here. I mean, I may have to cut the bolt off. Let's just see what happens. It's almost like somebody mangled up these threads. Who would do that? Okay, let me go clean the threads. Okay, they were just a bit cold because they had a burr. Okay, so that's feeding into a Now what I need is to be able to get this on far enough that this clutch engages, and we're not there yet, so I got to shave off some more off that. And while we're at it, how far is that going to go in? Oh, yeah, not quite. We only need that. I'll probably put a nut on there and then shave it off. Okay, so I'm going to go take that down a little bit and we'll... Okay, so I've got that turned down quite a bit. And we'll try it again. Nice and tight in there. I mean, I could put a slot in there and a screwdriver, but I think once it's... Yep. Boom. Yeah. Yeah, the clutch is engaging. And, yes, okay, there's a good proof. The clutch is engaging. That's about as tight as I want to tighten that, and I still have a bit of slack in my screw, so I know that I'm not bottomed out. If this wouldn't turn at all, then I know that it's sharing the load between here and the screw. So, good enough that way. The next question is, how far this way do I come? And I'm going to say, I mean, I got quite a bit of depth there. I could go down probably... probably that far. So, a good nut length, and then some. So I'll go cut that off and fix it up, make it look real nice. Okay, so I have shortened it. I cleaned it up with the grinder. We'll kind of neat how you install it. I mean, I can get it started here. So perhaps, you know, perhaps a slit down there for a flathead screwdriver. Oh no, I'm out of room, so I can grab onto it like this and I can pull it through that way. And now I've got enough over here. And I can get that nice and tight and seated. We'll do it this way. Now I can screw on my screw it onto my camera mount. Making sure it's, yeah, it is spinning in there. Do it this way. I'm gonna glue it, and it'll be a little bit better. Hang on, do it this way. That out. That's engaging. And what camera am I going to use on this? I don't know. I'm going to have to film it with my phone because I'm planning on putting this very camera on here. And I can lock that on. And there you go. Next, in the next video, we'll be mounting my Meade ETX 125 scope onto the dovetail. I've deforked it, a whole bunch of reasons for that, and we will put this in here. And the goal will be to have the telescope and the camera track. So when this turns or does that, the telescope and the camera for, you know, my big sky shots and stuff like that. I can just not going to get into the astrophotography end of things because I really don't know what I'm doing yet. But this is the goal: telescope on one side and this camera on the other side. So what am I going to do? Maybe I'll power it up and I'll just show you a little bit of what this is going to look like once a camera is on there. Okay, so here's this thing in action. Let's say I wanted to go to a certain target in the sky. Everything's mounted. Of course, I'd have my my telescope on there as well too. I'll just pick a object here. I'm using my handheld controller. Enter named objects. Enter. And I'm going to look at Andromeda. No, the Black Eye Galaxy, whatever that is. And I hit enter. And whoa. Okay, so here's how this would work theoretically. If I wanted to go to a certain object, I use my hand controller here to go to it. And Let's just pick something here. And hit enter, and this will drive to it. Now I don't have it set up or aligned properly. I don't know really what it's going to do, but this will drive the, obviously it's not in the earth like that. I don't have it aligned properly, but the whole goal is it will drive itself to it with the telescope over on this side. And once it gets there, I'm just trying to make sure it's not balanced, so I'm trying to make sure it doesn't tip over. Once it gets to where it should be, okay, now imagine this is pointing up at the sky if I would have had it, and it will sit there and keep whatever the object I selected in the center of the field of view. This is actually moving ever so slightly at the same rate that the Earth is rotating. So that's the whole goal of putting a camera on a mount like this. And of course, the telescope is going to be mounted on there as well. But that'll be another video. So, well, you know, there's first times for everything, and I haven't done any astrophotography yet, but I will. So that's what we got for you right now. I don't know if it's the right thing. The time will tell. It's a pretty heavy camera, but once I get that Loctite in there, it should be good. So for now, that's all we got on the DAS Lab. If you like what you see and you want to see more stuff like this, hit that subscribe button there, and we'll keep on making the videos. That's just your way of, you know, letting me know that you want to see more stuff like this. Have fun, be safe, and don't get any on you. See you next time.